Hey everyone! Today we're diving into a really cool piece of tech that's trying to solve Ethereum's biggest problem, which, ironically, is its own incredible success. It's called zkEVM, and the promise here is to let Ethereum scale up without giving anything up. All right, let's get into it.
So to really get why zkEVM is such a big deal, we have to start with the problem it's designed to fix. And yeah, right at the core of Ethereum, there is a major scaling issue.
So, how can the world's most popular smart contract platform be a victim of its own success? Well, think about it. As more and more people have poured into the ecosystem for DeFi, NFTs, you name it, it's created this massive digital traffic jam on the network.
Ends this number. This is the heart of the problem. This is Ethereum's transaction speed limit. It can only handle about 15 to 30 transactions per second. I mean, just to give you some perspective, a network like Visa does thousands every second. For a blockchain that wants to be a global settlement layer, it's just not going to cut it.
And this bottleneck leads to some serious growing pains. When the network gets crowded, the demand for space skyrockets, and so do the gas fees. That's the cost of doing anything on-chain. Suddenly, transactions slow to a crawl, and the whole system gets congested. It makes using Ethereum for everyday stuff, like games or simple trades, incredibly slow and way too expensive.
But this is where our hero steps in, a technology built from the ground up to fix these exact growing pains and finally give Ethereum some room to breathe. So let's meet the zkEVM.
Okay, so what exactly is a zkEVM? Well, in the simplest terms, it's what we call a Layer 2 scaling solution. That means it works on top of the main Ethereum chain. It takes all the hard work, all the smart contract execution, and does it in a separate, super fast environment. Then it uses some really advanced math to create a cryptographic proof that everything was done correctly, and just sends that back to the main chain. It's the bridge between massive scale and perfect Ethereum compatibility.
And what makes the zkEVM so special is that it gives you the best of both worlds. First, you get full compatibility with the Ethereum Virtual Machine, the EVM. That's the engine that runs all the apps. For developers, this is huge. It means they can just copy and paste their existing projects over. No rewriting code. And second, you get the security and efficiency of zero-knowledge proofs, which guarantee every transaction is legit.
All right, that all sounds great on paper, but how does this thing actually work under the hood? Let's walk through the mechanics of it.
You can really break it down into 3 simple steps. First, all the transactions are bundled up and processed off-chain in a super fast, super cheap environment. Then, the system generates a single tiny cryptographic proof that basically says, yep, we ran all these thousands of transactions and they're all valid. And finally, only that one tiny proof gets posted to the main Ethereum chain.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine Ethereum is a busy port. Instead of making the port authorities inspect every single box on a giant cargo ship, which would take forever, the zkEVM just hands them a single cryptographically verified manifest. The port just has to check that one piece of paper to know everything on the ship is in order. It is a massive leap in efficiency.
Now, zkEVM is not the only scaling solution out there. The space is crowded with different ideas. So where does it fit in? How does it stack up against the competition?
Okay, here's the absolute game changer. A lot of other Layer 2s are great, but they often force developers to change their code, learn a new programming language, or they only support some of Ethereum's features. zkEVMs are going for the holy grail, full compatibility. The idea is that any app on Ethereum today can move over tomorrow, seamlessly.
And this chart really makes it clear. If you look at the rows for EVM compatibility and smart contracts, you see a lot of limited or partial. But for zkEVM, you get that full green check mark. It takes the super strong security of ZK proofs, which you also see in things like Validiums, but combines it with the complete, no-compromise smart contract environment that developers know and love.
So let's just quickly recap the big wins here. You get full Ethereum compatibility, making it easy for everyone to jump on board. You get huge scalability. We're talking potentially thousands of transactions per second. You get the same rock-solid security as the main Ethereum network. And as a cool bonus, this tech also makes it easier to build in privacy features down the line.
But of course, no technology is a silver bullet, and we have to be honest about the challenges. Generating these zero-knowledge proofs takes a ton of computing power, which can be complex and expensive. The tech is also brand new, so the ecosystem of apps and tools for developers is still being built out. You know, these are the kinds of trade-offs you make when you're on the absolute cutting edge.
So, keeping all that in mind, the incredible strengths and the current limitations, what does this actually mean for the future of Ethereum and for the apps that we all use?
This is where it all gets real. For DeFi, imagine trading and lending with near-instant speeds and fees that cost pennies. For NFTs, it means minting a new piece of art, or buying a collectible won't cost you an arm and a leg in gas. For gaming in the metaverse, it enables millions of tiny, fast transactions for in-game items. It even opens up new possibilities for businesses that need private and secure ways to transact on-chain.
At the end of the day, this is what it's all about: mass adoption. The whole point is to get to a future where using Ethereum is easy and cheap for everyone. An ecosystem where you don't even have to think about gas fees or slow transactions. It just works. That's the new standard we're aiming for.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question. With this powerful mix of compatibility, security, and massive scale, is zkEVM the thing that finally gets Ethereum ready for prime time? For true global mainstream use? It's not just another small upgrade. It could be the fundamental key that unlocks it all. The real question now is how fast the world's developers will build on top of this incredible new foundation.